My name is Rae-Hunter. I'm the Communications Director for Future of Music Coalition. We're basically a research, education, and advocacy organization for musicians, so we try to get them informed about the issues so they can take an active role in some of the policy debates that affect their livelihood. Well, Future Music Coalition has supported the performance right since our inception nearly 10 years ago, and we continue to do so. My personal feeling about it is, artists absolutely performing artists deserve to get paid for the use of their work on not just terrestrial radio, but all platforms. And it kind of bothers me a little bit that we might not be able to see some other forms of broadcast media or new forms of media flourish because of the lack of parity in the overall licensing and use landscape. So if terrestrial radio would come along and do their part to support the artists whose music that they use to get listeners' ears and sell them advertising, we'd be coming a long way. I also personally like the public performance right because the money that's owed to the performing artist goes directly to the artist and doesn't get held, against their recoupable. So I've been watching this for a while, and I think that anytime you can actually talk about how this would benefit artists and how it can represent a significant direct income stream as we transition from a physical sales model to more of a plays model, it's going to become increasingly important for artists to be able to have a range of revenue streams because it all counts. I'd also like to say that where we can point out the inequity of having traditional American heritage artists, jazz, R&B artists, blues artists who, due to commercial consolidation in the United States in the radio industry, don't get played, but in Europe they might get played more often and have probably been played in the last few decades. They can't collect the money that they're owed. Even though Europe has a public performance right, they can't collect the money that they're owed from overseas plays because we don't have a reciprocal right in the United States. And I find that a little bit, that rubs me the wrong way too. And I think that talking about that as often as possible on the artist side is one of the smartest ways to get not just the folks in Washington to care, but artists and, more importantly, fans. Because I think fans, even though we live in the age of free, supposedly, people who truly love music want to have the creators paid. I think that one way to get artists more engaged in the issues is to get them quality information, credible information, in a way that they can understand, how that impacts their lives, and then start from there. I mean, everyone has their own reason to be, to pick and choose their battles. There's a limited amount of time in the day. There's a limited, amount of bandwidth in the brain these days. But I think that, as a musician myself and as somebody who, works with artists in any number of ways, getting them information that they can use is really key. So all it takes is, one person to learn about the issues and tell their friend, somebody who might not have thought of something this way or thought, oh, this is the status quo, it always has to work this way. Not necessarily. There's policy reasons behind it. The more informed you are, the more you feel empowered to directly engage in those outcomes. Well, I would hate to try to predict the future on the public performance rate because this battle has been going on for decades. Frank Sinatra fought this battle. I think that the stakes are a little bit higher for everyone right now, which makes it even more difficult to predict. The broadcasters, obviously for reasons of their own, and to a large degree, their embracing of the consolidated media model has kind of led to some of their, marketplace woes. But on the other hand, at Future Music Coalition, we're incredibly sensitive to the needs of small broadcasters, and we don't want to forget about what burdens that they have to carry when they're thinking about, doing the right thing and paying artists for these uses. I don't have any hard and fast predictions for the outcomes here because there's a lot of moving pieces and the opposition is very well organized as usual. I think that getting the message out and getting that message out to the folks who can make the decisions is probably the smartest thing in the world. The more they can hear from real artists, people who are out there who would theoretically depend on a new revenue stream in this changing marketplace, that's probably one way to tip it a little bit in our favor. But I can't make a prediction.